Hey, there we are. How exciting. And we're live. Hey, welcome back to the live stream of the Seibert Radio podcast powered by Poddex. I am your host, and today we are talking about a brand new online Transformers fan convention coming this winter called IACON Online, where all are one. And as you can see, I am joined by an incredibly great panel of awesome Transformers fan artists helping to bring the show to life, along with several others. So I would like to introduce, going like counterclockwise from me, I've got Chally.
Hi.
We've got Apollo.
Hello.
And we got Lita.
Hello.
And so yeah, I guess so before we go around the room, because I do want to go around the room and do kind of like a get to know you sesh, but before we get too far, because I notice folks are already watching, I want to let folks know watching out there on whatever platform you are, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, we're basically, when you're watching, you're welcome to join in the conversation in the comments. We're hoping to answer a lot of questions about IACON Online and kind of give you information about this new virtual convention. But more importantly, we want you to get hyped and want to participate and get involved. We're going to talk a lot about that during the show here. So please, out there watching, don't be shy about asking in the comments, and we'll try to answer them as we go. And actually, now that I think about it, that's kind of where I would like to start, because that's one of the things, me personally, that I'm most excited about for IACON Online, is that focus on inclusion and diversity of the content that we're looking to provide for the fans. So let's start with the basics, and I think Paulo, I'll kind of defer to you, and then Lita and Chally, please feel free and jump in as well. But let's cover the basics, starting with what the heck is IACON Online. Let's just start with that.
Well, Mike, I was on your show a few months ago, and this had a different name then and a different form. But what it is, it's IACON Online is a fan-based Transformers event where all are one, and Lita came up with the awesome tagline. And so what it is, it's fan-focused. So that means that our focus is on the fans. So people who make fan content, whether it's, podcasts, fan art, fan fiction, this is an event to celebrate fans. And it was born out of, kind of just this year with how awful it's been with all of our conventions being canceled. None of us have been able to get together. And I know for me, going to past Transformer conventions, I've been to TFCon, and I really missed the fan parts of it. I know Chally organized a informal artist meetup at the last one, and that was super awesome. Yeah. So, and that's been my favorite part of those conventions, is just connecting with fans, becoming friends with fans, and making lifetime friendships. So I just kind of put this out on the Twitter sphere, would anyone be interested in an online Transformers event? And a lot of people responded, and I started a Discord server and reached out to a few friends, some of them on the call, and here we are today. So that's pretty much the spiel behind how it started. We've been meeting every week for months now, I think starting in September. So Sunday nights for an hour to 2 hours. So there has been a ton of time and energy put into planning this and making it very thoughtful. I know it's my first time planning an event like this. I've planned a panel before at an anime convention, but that was years ago. So this is very new to me, but I am super excited to have such amazing, talented friends and team members putting this together.
Oh. Oh,
Very cool. Yeah, this thing kind of really sparked to life relatively quickly, and it might sound funny that I say relatively quickly, because we're talking about it in November, towards the end of November, just before Thanksgiving. But I think we did that interview, Apollo, back in August. It was like August 31st or something like that. And then once that kind of took hold and more folks got involved, the ideas just started crackling very, very quickly. So yeah, this has been kind of like a long gestating process, and we as a group kind of wanted to make sure that things were right. Like, we had a name, a logo, a date, something to where we can say this is officially going to be a thing. Because once I don't know if y'all know this, but this is a legally binding contract, doing live stream podcasting. There's no going out of it now. We have to do this at the end of January.
darn it.
I know, right? But I'm amazed how something can go from just like an idea, like, it would be cool to have another alternative. Because Transformers fandom is so vast, and I think some of that comes from a feeling that some spaces are underrepresented by some other conventions. So it's kind of taking that old adage of, if you don't like the way something is, do it yourself. And I think that's kind of what we're doing, and we've found a really cool group of really like-minded folks that are eager to do the same thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Mike, on that. I think a lot of us are underrepresented at other conventions. So this is just a real good opportunity to highlight people that aren't represented as much, even though we have such a large and diverse fan base. It's just not really advertised that way at other events. So this is our opportunity to do it. And we have such a diverse team involved too with the planning, which I think makes it very different from other events.
Well, and not to be so on the nose about it, but on this call here, we could already see that there's some pretty good representation, because I am the only white guy over the age of 40, and that's usually it's the other way around. So if that's an indication of the type of representation that we're looking to put up there as a group, I think this actually starts off as a really emblematic visual of that.
Yeah, and there's plenty of other people on the team that have not made it, that aren't on this call. And I'm sure hopefully they'll be able to be guests on future shows. But for now, we just have us three lovely people as guests.
Well, and this is kind of a introductory show, so it's kind of like, here's the thing, we're ready enough to say, we're presenting it to the world, and to kind of get some of those questions answered, and kind of get some conversations going. But yeah, you're right, Apollo. This certainly, I would like to think of this as probably the first in a ongoing series between now and when the convention happens, because we all have different schedules, and with this new technology that we have, I'm still blown away that even as distant as we all are, how connected we can be as well. It's but yeah, I'm definitely hoping to connect with some of the other awesome folks and fan creators in our little group and in the community in general, to kind of give that platform for folks to kind of talk about their stuff, and to really kind of get the hype train going for IACON Online. And with that, so we kind of talked about the what. We started posting. like I have a mouse in my pocket, like I've been doing posting or something. But no, the IACON online social accounts have been live for a week or so now, and have kind of started with like, okay, coming this winter. But now we've there's a date, so we know when IACON online is, and let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, anyways, well, IACON Online is going to be January 30th and 31st of 2021. So we originally had early winter and there was a little bit of a misunderstanding about that, because it's like, well, it could mean like next, November or December. And it's like, okay, we're going to put the actual dates on there. So yeah, it's going to be January 30th and 31st. We're still trying to figure out what time we're going to actually have the event, because we do want international folks to be able to participate as well. So we have to figure out the optimal time for that. And we are accepting applications right now for panels and for artists. So if you're thinking about a panel, or a panel you want to do, please apply. Same with artists. And then this week we'll also be posting the cosplay application as well. So
very cool.
Yeah, and the days that we post very important stuff, which Lita came up with a super awesome posting schedule, is Wednesdays. So just keep an eye out on social media on Wednesdays for important stuff. I'm going to be reposting the links for the applications for panels and Artist Alley on Wednesday. So just keep an eye out for those posts then. So on our social media channels.
Excellent. And you've hit on a couple things that I wanted to go a little more in depth on, because we've talked about artists and panels and cosplay. So to me, that sounds like stuff that hasn't necessarily been represented in some of those other spaces that we talked about earlier. Like I remember some of our very early discussions. I know, Chally, you brought in really wanting to have like a serious cosplay focus, and I like that various members of the team kind of bring in different sensibilities and passions. So like, for example, myself, I'm not necessarily a cosplayer. I'm a content creator, but I also acknowledge that cosplay is a huge component of the convention going experience, as is Artist Alley. And I think one of the disappointments that we've had with various other types of online fan conventions. I'm not even talking about the one particular Transformers fan convention either. I mean, not to single anybody out, but I've seen this in kind of like fan conventions in general. We have not quite figured out how to crack the nut to incorporate cosplay and incorporate Artist Alley, and kind of leaving those spaces kind of overlooked. So I thought maybe we could talk about that for a few, and really what sets IACON online. Why is it truly where all are one, and what kind of separates it from other virtual conventions that have kind of popped up in the space here?
Well, Chally or Lita, would you like to jump in and answer that question?
I
can do it.
I'll jump in about the cosplay part,
Okay.
especially because, I mean, technically we would be on the small convention scale, even though we're not a physical con. Right. I've noticed that only like the big monster cons, like Comic Con, really has taken the cosplay aspect to the virtual side. And I don't know if TF Nation, did they have time to organize a cosplay contest? Does anybody know? I know TF Con didn't.
Yeah, I think the closest TFCon got was rerunning
it.
old cosplay contests, which is
Yeah.
fine. I don't think TF Nation had that component. I think their focus was on
The panels and
content,
right.
which was quite good. But yeah, but as I said, that's what I mean. It's like there are some of these spaces that are kind of getting left behind.
Exactly. And I have two amazing friends, Frag Raptor and Spark Splitter. They weren't able to make this tonight, but they are amazing members of our team who are also very talented at making cosplays, Transformer cosplays. And I've also built, you could see the photo of it right there, my Ratchet
Oh, yeah.
rig.
Nice.
Yeah, so I also do Transformers cosplay, but the cosplays, people put hours, months, days, sometimes years into it. And it just really broke our heart to see that people are probably still working on their cosplay, especially while home and quarantining all these months, and they can't show it anywhere and they can't compete it. I mean, some people live to compete or just to show their cosplay and wear it at a con. So what's great about the cosplay contest is you're entering a friendly competition, but even if you don't place, you're still showing your hard work for everybody to see, which I think is so important for people who are, yearning to show their amazing work. And I just think it's a wonderful thing that people are going to be able to show their cosplay with this. When are we posting the cosplay applications again, Apollo, just so people know when that is going to be opening up?
Well, I think we should post it Wednesday with the other
Wednesday as well. Okay.
Again.
So keep your eye out Wednesday. We will be having first, second, third place prizes for both the rig category and the human former category. So a total of 6 prizes will be coming out. And I actually have an example. They will be a metal kind of setup. So you will get a first, second, or third place, one of these kind of setups. So you will get something, which makes it even more fun. And, if this is our only year that this does happen, this virtual IACON, people will say, look at me, I won this at this con that happened one year during quarantine time. Yeah. So I hope that you amazing people can apply. It's going to be a wonderful contest.
Well, it's a shame you're not passionate about that topic at all. Maybe see if you can, drum up a little more enthusiasm, kind of until you make it. But no, that's incredible. And again, that's so like for me, for example, I wouldn't even think of that. Like in terms of like, the medals, the rewards, or even the designation between rig and human former. Because I was like, wait, oh yeah, I know what that is. I know what that is. So
we actually just got a question from Katie Ebling. Do you know the format planned out, like maybe 1-minute video that you submit for the contest? So to answer that question, the form is built up. When we do post it, you will fill out a form with all that info. And you do have the option of submitting a video or photos if you're unable to make a video. And the video, I mean, it can't be crazy long, but it can be 1 to 2 minutes, just showing, the full body, the close-up details of the body. If you're unable to do a video, then please do photos of the same thing except in photo format, and then we will show that on the stream when we show the contest during the convention.
Very cool. And again, thanks to Katie for jumping on here in the chat, joining us on Twitter on Periscope, it looks like. And if you have questions for the IACON panel, Chally, Apollo, Lita, or myself, whatever platform you're streaming on, don't be shy. Ask a lot of those questions. That's kind of what we're here for. Is kind of like an open Q&A, just to kind of see what what we could talk about. But one of the things I wanted to get into is, kind of like, so we know it's going to be streaming, and we've seen a lot of streaming virtual conventions. I've been a part of some, Seibfest Northwest here in Seattle. It was kind of one of I don't want to say the first of its kind, but one of the beginnings, back in July, August there. But I think I want to kind of get into, I guess for lack of better term, why we're doing this, because it seems like this is a massive undertaking with a lot of moving parts, and it's not entirely unscary. So I guess I would like to talk about kind of why this project speaks to us and why we're involved. I'm going to put you on the spot, Lita. I'm going to go to you. Why don't you talk about why what about this speaks to you and why you're involved?
Well, so for starters, as most of you know, I am a Canadian transplant living in Los Angeles right now. And one of the things that we talked about when we were first coming up with the convention was we want this to cross borders. We want it to be accessible to everyone. And now more than ever, with COVID, with borders closed, with not being able to travel and see friends, like all of my friends live 2,000 miles away. And, you know, these real life conventions were the one time of year I could see everyone. So we really wanted to have some connector, some sort of a bridge that we could build between all these different people we love and we miss, because the Transformers community is a huge community and it is barrier bound. It is everywhere. You get people from Canada, Mexico, the UK, all across the world. So that first and foremost was one of our most important items, was how do we connect people in a world that is so disconnected right now?
Yeah.
And by doing an online convention, that's the best way that we could bring about that.
Very cool. Very cool. How about you, Charlie?
Very much same. I mean, Lita explained it beautifully. Like, I could not explain it better than that. You did an amazing job explaining, I think, how all of us feel, honestly. But really, I give so much credit to Apollo for coming up with this idea, because she's the one that really sparked that, like, whoa, this is an amazing idea with all of us. And it's amazing that we all came together and all put our own input and ideas that have really helped this convention grow, and, you know, platforms to spread it to the world and get everybody connected in a safe way right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Apollo, I give so much credit to you for doing this. So thank you for coming up with it. And I'm just really happy I saw your post when you were calling for people to help organize this. It's a wonderful idea to safely get people together and do a convention that hopefully everybody will enjoy, that is Transformers based, where we can talk to our friends like, hey, did you do that? Did you see that panel? Sure did. So yeah.
Oh, thank you, Charlie. It's so sweet. Like, it mostly mine came out of the thought of, I miss my friends, like my Transformer friends, because I would see all of you. Well, though, Mike, I haven't met you in person yet, which we passed each other a few conventions, but you know, I'd hang out with everyone, you know, twice a year at the TF cons, and I miss my friends, my Transformer friends. So that's where this came from. And I'm just, you know, this project actually really been a great way for all of us to stay in touch, and it's been really cool, actually, just even the planning process of it. And yeah, it's been a lot of work. Like, I even remember, Charlie, when you reached out to me, like, you know what you're getting into, right? And I'm like,
be prepared. There's work with organizing stuff. Be prepared.
Yeah. And I was just like, I'm like, you know, we're not really going anywhere this year, or at least I'm not. So why not? You know, my time's mostly spent with my dog, who's sleeping right now. That's who I was looking at. But that's where it was born from. The idea was, I miss my friends, and let's organize an event. And something that I don't think you brought this up, Mike, or anyone else, but this event is free. And like the prizes for the cosplay event, we're putting money into that. I know, Charlie, you put your own money into this. So we're not charging admission. We're not making a dime off this. This is we're donating into it. Yeah. This is a volunteer event. So we're all volunteers. We're doing this because we love Transformers and our friends and friendships we made from it. And so just keep that in mind. That's where we're coming from for this event. And so, yeah.
Well, and the focus of the show also, and I may have mentioned this a couple times already, is that it's it's a show that is for fans by fans. I've joked a couple times in saying by fans for fans of the fans, because like in our own ways we have our own homies and fan base and things like that. So it's like, hey, if you like my stuff, come check me out over here, because I'm hanging out with all these other cool folks that are doing other cool stuff that's different than the stuff I'm doing. It's kind of like very much like a taste the rainbow type of situation there. So with that, we've mentioned a couple times that it's us on the call, but I was wondering if we could shout out and maybe talk about some of the other cool folks that are involved with IACON Online and some of the cool stuff that they do.
Andy.
Yeah, Andy.
Shout out Andy.
Andy.
We love you, Andy. Just to clarify, Andy is one of our amazing artists that are on board with this. He not only designed the logo that you guys are seeing on the Twitter and our other social medias, but him and our also amazing talented artist Frag Raptor are currently designing our drumroll mascot. We have a mascot.
Yes.
So keep an eye out for that, guys. The mascot will be posted very soon. So that is something exciting.
That's really cool.
We made an OC just for all of you.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I think Scribbles is involved a little bit in that too. So
Constant Scribbles,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And Spark Splitter, another shout out.
Mm-hmm. And Frag Raptor. So, and then
Genevieve.
we've got Genevieve. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mike.
Well, it's easy to forget because I've basically ghosted the chat and the meeting frequently. It's like I didn't realize that that's what had happened until it had been like a month or so. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't opened the Discord in like 3 weeks. It's just, working that news person lifestyle. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but it's been a little busy in the news of late. But I'm hoping now that things have kind of, I don't want to say settled down because I don't think that's accurate for 2020. Exactly. I was going to say, but I'm hopefully going to become more involved now that the train is moving at full speed and it's all towards working towards that end of January and with the with IACON Online. So yeah, I mean that's kind of what IACON Online is in a nutshell. Like we said, it's a not-for-profit Transformers virtual convention focusing on inclusion more than anything. And I guess the thing that I wanted to touch back on before we moved on and kind of did that get to know you sesh I threatened earlier. I know we and some of our friends are very extroverted and, it's like, hey man, check out my stuff, that kind of thing. But I know in our looking for fan content, artists, cosplayers, panelists, there will be folks that will be very enthusiastic about the opportunity right away. Like, in fact, if I understand correctly, we've already had a couple submissions both to the Virtual Artist Alley as well as panel submissions as well. So keep that coming. This is basically, it's a forum and a platform for fan created content. So it's like if there's an idea that you have, kind of like the mission statement of the con itself, if there's something that's not being represented, do it. so that would be kind of my call out to folks that would be interested in participating. But the thing I also wanted to talk about that I think sets IACON Online apart from some of the other shows is that I've seen I've already seen some folks commenting on Twitter saying like, you know what, I've got a really good idea, but I'm really shy, and there are a lot of folks in the fandom that are very shy. It's interesting that, I mean, like somebody like me where I'm just like, hey everybody, that I kind of forget that we're not all wired like that. So what I would like to impart to folks, and you all can definitely join in and let me know as well, but if you have an idea, you know, reach out. If your entire reasoning for not wanting to participate is that you're shy, one, respect, totally understand, but we can help you out also and help you bring your idea to life. Like I remember one of the things that I had shared in one of our early meetings was that I don't know if I'm so much interested in making my own content. I'm way more interested in helping somebody fulfill their dream of doing content. So like if if somebody's got like an idea for a panel but doesn't necessarily have it completely fleshed out, don't be shy, reach out. We're a friendly bunch of folks, or at least some of us are.
I don't know about Apollo, but
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Look out for this space.
Yeah.
I look
I don't like
nice,
you.
but look out.
watch out for her.
But yeah, I just by coincidence saw a couple different tweets like right before we started going live here, and I was like, no, I think I want to address that, and again, I would hope that we can put out an environment that's inviting, and I think that's what some of the I want to be careful with the word backlash, because that's not entirely accurate, but I think that's kind of been some of the response from some of our experiences dealing with other larger conventions, that not necessarily feeling like their voice is being heard, that they're being included, to the point where it's like, well, I would like to participate. Okay, cool. Send me an email. All right, cool. I'm going to author this email and say, okay, I have this cool idea. Great. Let me know everything about it. And it's like, no, there's got to be a little bit of reciprocation from the convention organizers. And I think that's something that we can offer folks. Now, it could be something where you end up not doing the panel or exhibiting or cosplay or whatever, but we're not just going to out of hand saying, go away, kid, you bother me.
No, we're not like that at all. Like I even got a question yesterday directly in my DMs. By the way, you can DM me if you've got questions, or any of us. I think I can. Right? Any of us on here, if you've got questions,
slide into those DMs, honey.
Yeah, slide into my DMs. So, so speaking of that, so I did get a question about if, we're going to be doing like official panels, with like official guests, or if it's just fan based. And our focus is fan focused, but if any official folks want to participate, which we do have one person. Charlie, do you think it's all right to say who it is?
We do have Livio Ramadelli. He is going to be one of our official guests. We of course would love to see if anybody else as an official guest would love to hop on board. There's still plenty of time to reach out to us.
Yes.
But yes, we do have one official guest so far, so that's that. But it is mostly going to be fan based, but yes, we are open to some official guests.
Well, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's fine. So, but yeah, it is going to be fan based. So we're giving everyone equal treatment. So, if you do decide to become an artist, if you apply and you're accepted, we're going to advertise for you. If you give us a permission to do so, you're going to be getting your own Discord channel. for streaming your artwork during the event and for posting your advertisements. More details to come if you do get accepted during the application period. But to also jump back in onto what Mike was saying, if you do have a panel idea and you are nervous about doing a panel, or you have any questions and need to bounce ideas off any of us, just please message us. We can help you bring it to life. Or if you're nervous about doing this live thing, we can record a video of your panel as well. So that way you don't have to worry about it being live. We could just hit play. The Q&A at the end will be live though. So that's something to keep in mind. At the end of every panel, we are going to have a Q&A at the end. So, but we're here to help. So don't be nervous about asking questions. There's no bad question in my book.
Right.
So please feel free to reach out to us if you have questions about panels, if you have questions about the cosplay event, if you have questions about Artist Alley, just reach out to us. And, you can send in your application. And if you need more clarification, we'll help you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not like we're just going to kick you out of the nest and right onto the internet there. And actually, Apollo, you brought up something else I would like to get into a little bit. This is going to be a bit of a hybrid approach in that there will be some pre-recorded content. There'll also be some live content. And because I know that's one of the criticisms a lot of us have had about a lot of these streaming conventions, and actually not even conventions, just like Hasbro's Fan First Friday events, for example. Those are definitely pre-recorded. We had a lot of discussions about what is ideal. Do you want to go live without a net, or do you do pre-recorded? And I think the kind of hybrid approach where like you were just saying, Apollo, where you'll have a panel but then you'll have like some live Q&A at the end. I think that's a brilliant way to keep folks engaged, keep folks interested. Because we talked about TF Nation a little bit earlier, and there were whole stretches of it where I just kind of tuned out because it was an interview with somebody that I didn't have any opportunity to participate and ask questions. And I think that's one of the things that is that's definitely going to set IACON Online apart. I also wanted to talk about kind of, we mentioned Artist Alley earlier, and I kind of let the thread drop. I was wondering if we could kind of talk about the logistics a little bit of what that virtual Artist Alley is going to look like, because I think we've got some really cool ideas to make that happen.
Well, I'll start out. I know Charlie helped me with organizing our Discord server. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Yeah. So I guess the logistics of it is if you are accepted as one of our artists, which we will get back to you, it's the week of Christmas. I don't know the dates off the top of my head.
On the bottom of the form.
Yeah. So anyways, if we get back to you and you're accepted, you're going to be getting a Discord channel for your art. You will be able to post any live streams you're doing, any commission information. We ask that you will be creating a little promo image for your artwork, like with your commission info and stuff like that. If you're doing commissions, 50% of what you sell, if you have merchandise, has to be Transformers related. That's, because the focus of this event is Transformers and robots. So more to come though on that if you are accepted, for like image dimensions and stuff like that. We will also be doing artist highlights on our social media channels. So we will be promoting you. And So just, you're going to be getting help from us, you know, because I know this pandemic has hit a lot of artists hard. There are artists that survive off of going to conventions and selling their art and their merchandise. So this is our way to help you. So there are some other rules. You know, we're keeping this event PG. So you cannot be advertising anything that's not safe for work or posting any not safe for work. If you know, what you do in your DMs is your business, but
Sure.
you know, we don't want any of that on our server. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, so Chally or Lita, do you want to jump in and elaborate some more?
Go ahead, Lita.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. The only thing I was going to add was that I knew it was going to happen. Okay, so we're going to be promoting, as Apollo said, on social media. We're also going to be having a hashtag specifically for Artist Alley. And, you know, that's kind of born from the thought of, we don't want our artist friends and any of the artists who, again, do rely on commissions very heavily for money, especially in these hard times, to slip through the cracks. So we got your back.
And we're even going to be posting, we were talking about in our meetings, we're going to be doing a list that we're also going to be posting publicly, since, you know, with social medias like Twitter, tweets do get bogged down. So even though we're going to be posting like that, we might pin a post with the list of all our panels lined up and the list of all our artists with their shop links next to it. So you can just go straight to the list as well and click the link. Bam, you're there, especially because not everybody has a Discord as well. So that's another way that we are going to be promoting you. I know we are also trying to see if we can maybe, like, through in between panels, depending how we keep things live, maybe show the artist's page as well, their little logo thing as well. So we're going to really, really try to make sure that you guys are promoted as much as possible and you guys get some sales.
Absolutely. And again, as I say, I think that's I think that's incredible, and I think that's again something that's kind of been missing from other conventions of this type. Like I remember, like DC Fandom, for example, they highlighted and showed a lot of cool fan art, but then like half the time, like the artist wasn't tagged properly, and there were certainly no go back links to, like, oh hey, you know, check out their stuff. So there wasn't necessarily like a focus on the artist. And one of the things that I think that our group, that being independent fan artists ourselves, is that, you know, we know that feel, bro. You know, it's like, it's, you know, there's so much of a focus on the vibrant fan art community for Transformers. And I think that was one of the things that came up very early, is like, well, how can we really kind of embrace that and spotlight that in a way that perhaps it hasn't been in other types of online things. So yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, because I'm realizing we've been going for a bit now, and we haven't gone around the room and introduced ourselves or done any of that fun stuff yet. But I guess I'm trying to think about, before I tie that off, is there, I feel like I'm maybe missing something. I'm not trying to lead the witness. I'm actually just thinking out loud. I feel like I'm missing something that we've discussed that makes IACON Online different from other conventions of its type, but it's eluding me at the moment. Am I missing something that we haven't highlighted yet?
Not that I can think of. How about Chally or Lita? Can you think of anything?
I think we covered all the bases, but again, if anyone has any questions, or if something isn't maybe spelled out as clearly as it could have been, of course, you can always reach out to any of us.
Yes.
Of course, to the IACON Online social media channels. We are checking those all the time. So if you have any questions or anything like that, please reach out. Again, we are but humble folk, and we are here for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And what are those social medias? Because I know there's a link tree set up, and IACON Online is available in a few different places. Let me I was about to ask you, but I was going to say, hey, I could probably bring it up here also. So yeah, you could. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so you can follow IACON Online at IACON Online on Twitter, also on Instagram at IACON Online, on the Facebook as well, as you guessed it, at IACON Online, and then on Tumblr at iacononline.tumblr.com. I got locked down on my Tumblr account, so I'm able to. People think I'm joking, but that's legit. Yeah. But yeah, so I wanted to go back to the chat here for a sec, because Katie asked a few different things that I think would be worth addressing, and I think this is kind of tongue in cheek also. But darn, no after hours. I don't know what after hours activities on the
virtual world.
Yeah. Well, no, I think we covered it earlier. That's when you slide into them DMs consensually and all, again, what you do on your own time. But it is interesting though, because I am sure we've all had this very similar experience. The after hours scene is just as vibrant as the con scene. Parts parties and hanging out in the bar and lounge doing that karaoke. There's definitely a vibrant scene that unfortunately isn't. It's very difficult to duplicate in an online space. Yes, insanity is what it is. Katie nailed it. But yes, because I have, but it's interesting though, because I've hung around with my friends so much to where I kind of forget there's a convention sometimes. It's like, oh, hey, do we want to go Transformer? It's
right, there's a con.
Exactly. and it's our hope that, at least during the convention hours, that it kind of gives at least a little bit of a semblance of that community. Like I know when I was watching the TF Nation stream, even the TFCon online stream, watching folks respond to things in the comments was pretty fun, because I think I kind of took a couple jabs at TFCon for having so much reheated material that it kind of hit me weird at the time, but it kind of made me look at it from a different perspective once I saw folks interacting in the comments, and it's like, oh, they've never seen this panel before. So it's neat when folks get to experience something like that for the first time there. But
if you want to drink and get together with your friends and watch some G1 episodes, we're not against it.
No,
you can definitely live out your after party life and invite us.
Exactly.
I'm always down.
Yeah, man, I'm down to clown for sure. So again, panel submissions or applications for panel submissions as well as Artist Alley are open now as we speak. So check out those social channels like we already talked about at IACON Online, pretty much everywhere. And even if the application process looks daunting because there's a couple things where I don't know how to answer that, please feel free and just tweet at us, post at us. You can DM us individually. No, you can post to us individually. I don't want to speak for y'all. People can DM me all they like, but
yeah,
exactly. So yeah, I totally lost my train of thought, and the chat is starting to get lit also.
Once I made the comment about drinking, it's like everyone was like, "Yes, Queen, finally can we get that part of the convention?
Invite me to your after party." I don't want to put on a party we'll go to your after party.
We could just have a stream running of like some rave music, like join
Oh
on
my
in. Get some drinks.
Bring your
We'll
own
leave
beverage.
it to you, the fans, to organize, and we will definitely come stream drink with you
Yeah.
after all this.
Well, here's the thing. So like, if somebody's into that scene, I'm sure somebody could submit that as a panel. You know, it's Boots and Cats, the IACON online rave. Boots and Cats and Boots and Cats. It's yeah. So, let's see. You guys consider doing a quote unquote 24-hour online hotel lobby drop-in chat of some kind? I don't know if I can commit to that.
The thing with live streaming is you have to keep a computer running and keeping it connected to your internet that long. So I don't know if that's going to quite be possible because, you know, I can't speak for everybody else's, but my internet would be very mad at me if I streamed for 24 hours on my computer to keep that open. There could be, maybe we were discussing with the Discord and how we'll be doing Discord categories for people to look at online shops and panel schedules and such. So maybe we can make a Discord category that is the hotel chat so people can chat and talk in there. Perhaps we could do something
After
like
hours.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can make a Discord category for that that's open to the public when that time does come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great question.
Michael wrote Discord channels. Yeah. By the way, I saw Katie also ask, I had to get my dog, if that's why I had to like jump off for a quick second. As you could see.
Aww.
But Katie, I don't know if you guys covered, she had asked about volunteers. Did you guys cover that when I hopped off?
No.
Okay.
We got bogged down in drinking legislation.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you, Charlie, for bringing that back up. Yeah, let's talk about volunteers, and then by extension, how folks can get involved with IACON. Like, I don't know if we're looking for more folks to, you know, join our team of infrastructure planning and yeah, I mean there's plenty of opportunities for folks to get involved. Let's talk about that for a few.
I think if you want to volunteer, like, please DM one of us or DM the IACON online social media platforms. One of them, Twitter's probably the one I check the most personally. But yeah, if you want to help, we need your help. Like, I mean, we've got kind of a core team of people here where we meet every Sunday for an hour or two for planning. And then we have tasks and deliverables throughout the week. But if you want to volunteer, like, even just for the event, like if you want to be a moderator, please hit us up.
We could definitely use moderators for chats.
Yeah, because, you know, most of us are, I think everyone on the team is in North America. So we do need coverage for times when we're not awake, you know, or, you know, international coverage. So if anyone wants to help mod, please message us. We could really use your help.
And of course, anyone with social media experience would be huge, because once everything starts rolling up and we have all the artists, we want to make sure we're covering as much as possible.
Yes.
And that's a Herculean task.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The social media, if someone wants to help with social media, that would be awesome, because I've been doing a lot of it, and like the team has been resharing stuff, but it's a lot even so far. So
yeah. Well, and it gets incredibly daunting. So yeah, and that's, and again, like we said, that this is an event for fans by fans. And, you know, I talked earlier about, you know, like folks that might want to get involved, but they're not quite sure how. Yeah, don't be shy, man. Just just jump on over. And even if you aren't able to, say, do a panel or a cosplay or be part of Artist Alley, yeah, you could still participate, get that front row seat by being a mod for a chat. Or even better, maybe team up with some folks like, oh, you're kind of shy, I'm kind of shy. Let's do the fusion dance here and see if we can
together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the message that me personally, as part of, the podcast here, I want to get out, is that we're really focusing on that inclusion aspect. And the last thing I would like to hear is, after this event comes and goes, that somebody said, you know what, I had a good idea, but it wasn't cooked all the way. I wasn't quite ready. Exactly. Combine, merge for the kill. That's we're not doing that here. But no, seriously, I mean, just don't be shy. Reach out, and we'll help you as best as possible. I remember a thread that I forgot about earlier. I derailed the show and said, hey, what else was there? And I think, Charlie, you covered it already, but I think one of the main things that's going to separate IACON online is that Discord presence. Mm-hmm. And I will admit, prior to being involved in this project, I hadn't messed with Discord at all. Now, much to the chagrin of a lot of my friends, they're like, "Oh, well, just jump on Discord," and I'm like, I joined a server for a popular Transformers podcast, and I ended up getting scared off because I couldn't figure out how to manage the notifications. I was really like old man yells at cloud. I'm like, I can't handle this. I ended up uninstalling the app, and it wasn't until now that I got back in on it. But I tell that story because it's the thing about Transformers fandom is that it is so inclusive, and that we want to make the barriers as low as possible for folks to come in and participate. So even if there's something like, it's like, well, you guys are talking about this virtual artist alley being on Discord, and I don't know anything about Discord. It's not impolite to ask. I would much rather somebody networks with one of us or any of our other friends to kind of, I'll hold your hand and walk you through it, that kind of thing. But because I think that now that I've started to see how very that virtual convention experience in a way that I've never seen before. All I've seen is video content, and this is on a whole nother level in terms of interactivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So from there, let me see. I'm going through my notes here. I think that's about all I wanted to cover for the moment. I'm sure we'll come up with things as we go. And again, those of you that are out there watching, feel free and jump in the comments. And if you have, because it could be one of those things like we've said something and it takes a while to be like, oh, wait a sec, I have a question about that. So even if it looks like it's derailing the conversation, I assure you it is not. We will definitely answer your questions as best as possible. And even after this live stream ends, again, that's what the social media platforms are for. That's that's why the folks that have been working hard on that wanted to make sure everything was up and running before we presented ourselves at the ball, as it were. So transitioning then, let's talk about, let's finally, after an hour of live streaming, let's go around the room. And I have I have a couple things. I have a Transformers fandom asks list that I found deep within Tumblr a couple years ago. So I know I keep saying
God.
I know
it's really okay boomer when somebody like me starts talking about deep Tumblr. It's like dude, you don't even know. It's fine, but no. What I thought we could do to start before we get too deeper into these questions. And Apollo, you've done this ritual a couple times already, but what I would like to do is let's just kind of get to know each other a little bit. Why don't you introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what your, for lack of a better term, your thing is in Transformers fandom, and then, like I said, I've got some fun questions that we can discuss as a group. But let's start with Chally. Why don't you talk about again what you do in the fandom, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I used to be in the fandom actually from 2007 to 2010 or 11, and then I came back in 2018. And I do mostly art. I do a little bit of fan fiction, and I'm extremely chatty. So I think everybody kind of knows that I've chatted with almost everybody in this fandom at some point. Everybody knows the green hair girl, I think, at this point in this fandom. So, but it's mostly art and just being very supportive of my friends and just, keeping a conversation with as many people as I can. Making sure everybody has a little bit of company, especially right now. But I mean, physical stuff I do would probably be artist stuff, drawing. Yeah. I haven't posted much right now because I've been working on an animation project at the moment, but I will be posting some more TF art again soon. So, yeah.
Well, you have, I think you're selling yourself short there because, you talked about it a little bit earlier, but you've got your ratchet rig. And you were on TV, right? At one point,
I did get on the news for the ratchet rig. Hold on. I don't know if people know what the rig is.
Right.
Yeah, go get the picture.
Yes.
I will put my earbuds back in a second, but this was me at TFCon Toronto in 2019. Whoa, I did do a G1 cosplay of Ratchet, a rig, which is giant robot. Let me just put these buggers back in. But I do love cosplay, so that's why I was so passionate about getting a costume contest going with this con. But a lot of people do also know me for the Ratchet rig because back in July, I did a picture of me in the rig saying, "Hey, stay home, it's doctor's orders." And it blew up on Twitter and Reddit. And then the news picked it up and I was on my news. And then I posted that and that post blew up all over the place too. So people do also know me for that as well.
That's cool. Awesome. And you're doing some animation also, right?
Yeah, I am planning on doing an advertisement for the con. Once our mascot is out, I am going to try to squeeze in a little animated mascot for everybody to help advertise the con. So I'm really excited to work on that. But I am working on a YouTube animation channel called Chally's Animated Life. So if you guys want to follow that, I do post it on my Twitter, Challenger Girl 9. So I am working on the Christmas video. And if I can just advertise one more thing, I also organized the Transformers Medic sign that's out right now, the TF Lifelines Medic zine. I would like to say we are still open for pre-orders until December 20th. And if you can buy a copy, it would be wonderful because it's a completely non-for-profit zine. All proceeds are being donated to the Salk Institute for Biological Study, which is currently working its aft off for that. They are currently working on studying for a coronavirus vaccine. So if you are buying a copy of this zine, you are actually helping donate money towards coronavirus research right now. So I hope that you guys can maybe consider it. Please type in TF Lifelines Medic Zine. You can find it on Twitter or Tumblr. I have the link on my profile. So
Very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. I know you've been really excited about that zine for a while now, and it was cool when the pre-order dropped. I was really excited to see that.
It's been a year-long project. It was my first time organizing a zine, so I had to learn a lot with that. So
nice.
Cool. So Apollo, I know, again, you've been on the podcast with me a number of times at this point, and we've already talked so much about your art, but as we know, everybody's live stream or podcast is their first show, and folks might be meeting you for the first time. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your art and what you do in the fandom.
All righty. Well, my name's Apollo, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RoboApollo. That name actually the way I came up with that handle was Chrono Trigger. I don't know if you can see it on my shelf up there. It's my favorite video game, and there's a character in that game named Robo. So, and then I have a Transformers OC named Apollo. So it's kind of, it could be short for robot or for Robo from Chrono Trigger. So anyways, I do artwork. I do write some fan fiction. I would not consider myself good at that.
No, you're great. You're great.
But I am definitely more of like a visual artist. So I was actually supposed to vend for the first time at TFCon Orlando. So I have a ton of merchandise still that I am slowly selling. But yeah, I do artwork, commissions, and that sort of thing. And that's me.
Apollo, there's so much more.
There's more. Well, no, my phone's at like 20% battery, so I might need to relocate because this wasn't working on my iPad. So.
That's right. No. That's right.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about that. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. When we chose to do it on the phone, there would be unintended consequences.
Yes.
So that being said, well, 20%. I'm like trying to do the legislation. It's like, how much time is that? So I guess just in case your battery drops out real quick, like, anything you want to mention that you haven't yet, in terms of like either promotion for IACON Online or promotion of your own stuff? Like you said, you've still got some merch left over, and are you open for commissions currently? I lose track sometimes.
Oh yeah, I am. I have 1 slot's taken now, okay. So I'm actually drawing a dog for a friend of mine. So yeah, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, I'm currently open for commissions. My commission info is found on my pinned tweet. I do have a big cartel store that only has some of my stuff online right now. But I do have like a bunch of prints and like a coloring book. I did a female Transformers coloring book, which got great reception. I think I only have 10 copies left. So,
oh wow.
I actually have it in the drawer there. Do you want me to show it real quickly for everybody?
Yeah,
I have it.
Yeah,
awesome. I actually have it.
Thanks, Charlie. But yeah, and that was a project I was really proud of, was getting that coloring book done. I've actually sold some in person at the comic book shop in Portland, so where I live. So,
so I will admit I haven't had time to color into this beautiful piece yet, but if you want to discuss it while I show the pages.
Okay, sure. So so I got this made for TFCon Orlando. So I took the line art that I drew because my line art's pretty distinct. Yeah. And decided to make a coloring book, and it was actually my friend Hillary's idea. She's like, you need to make a coloring book of your artwork, and I'm like, okay. So but it's female focused. I feel like a lot of the female characters don't get a lot of recognition. I mean, and in Siege I would say Alita did, which was cool, but but yeah, I just wanted to really highlight, the strong female characters from Transformers, both the Autobots and the Decepticons. So, like Megatronia or Mega Empress is in there, and she's not really a well-known character, but she's like, She's
Nice.
from, and there's Megatronia, which is the female Decepticon combiner. So
There you go.
yes.
Well, and that's some heavy duty paper stock too. I could just hear it there. I mean that's a heavy duty book. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was important for me. I do graphic design for my day job. So it was really important for me, the paper quality, and that it was on a heavy pound paper. That's how thick the paper is. And I think I picked 80-pound paper for the inner pages. And I think the cover was like 120. So yeah, it's very thick paper, so you can color on it and it should not leak. Yeah, there's my Twitter and Instagram accounts, so come check me out on there. And if you want a commission, you can DM me. And I'm a very friendly person. I'm smiling like this all the time.
Yeah.
So you'll probably, and if you do follow me, you'll see pictures of my dog. I have a corgi named Jazz, and I tend to overshare pictures of him on Twitter and Instagram. So, and that's why I keep looking down, is I'm just making sure he's not getting in trouble. He tried to eat part of his new toy last night, and if I hadn't have looked at him, he would have actually ate it. So I was like, okay, I need to like keep an eye on this little guy.
No.
But yeah, that's where you can find me on the internet. So hope to see you there, viewers. Obviously, I talk to these lovely people all the time. So yeah, that's me.
Very cool. Well, and I would definitely recommend getting a commission from Apollo. I know a couple of my friends have, and I have as well. I don't have it up here currently, but she did a podcaster Soundwave for me, which I love. I had that for my Twitter banner for like a while. I need to put it back up again. But she also designed a original character called Miss Attitude, which my wife drives a Jeep Wrangler, and I wasn't told that when you go to the dealership and buy a Jeep Wrangler that it comes with an attitude. I didn't know. Nobody told me. So I'm just like, my goodness, clutching pearls as we're driving through town. But yeah, so she's got a number of decals like in the doors, that say Miss Attitude. So Apollo designed a original character out of my wife's Jeep, and we did an entire podcast about it several months ago. You could go back in the archives and check that out. But I really appreciated the collaborative process where it's just kind of like from vague vision honing in on design details. Like, we spent several messages back and forth just trying to figure out what the heck the backpack was going to be. And it's like, where's all that kibble going to go? Like, and I remember it's like, well, wait a sec. We're not designing a toy, but it's that attention to detail, and that's why I tell the story that way. Is that it's that attention to detail and being conscientious of what someone is looking for, kind of to help them achieve their vision. Like, you asked me all kinds of questions that I didn't even think to consider in terms of like details of the character design. And I just, so I would definitely recommend getting a commission from Apollo. Her stuff is really nice and she's great to deal with.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
All right. So at this point, like Apollo, if your phone starts fading away, and if you need to dip, totally understand. We will be very, very sad, but we will carry on as best as possible. Maybe you can join us in the chat as we go. But I would
change scenery to charge.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's
I might need to go grab my charger because it gave me a 10% message. So I might change scenery. So I will go AFK.
All right, very good. All right. Well, goodbye for now. Yes, we all just roll a tear and
Can't
pour.
see it. There's a single tear.
Exactly. So let's talk about La La Lita.
That's me.
That's you.
Ew.
Well, I go by Lita. Some people know my full name, but now in the fandom, I'm just known as Lita, and that comes from being a huge Alita 1 fan. So, Lita, Alita.
Yes.
I need to spell it out, but I feel like people don't recognize me right now because I am always in bright pink. Always. And today I went with a black turtleneck. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I do have pink earrings on though. Yay, hello everyone. I have some friends in the chat. Hey Pontep, hey Katie. Thanks for joining us.
See that? That's awesome. Welcome. And so yeah, so for folks that are just meeting you for the first time here, kind of expand on that and kind of talk about what you do in the fandom.
Well, I'm not an artist. I wish I was talented enough, but unfortunately, I'm not. So instead, I am a writer, and I write fan fiction. And if you know anything about me, you know that Optimus and Alita 1 is the ship I will sail until the day I die, and after that. So that is what pretty much all of my fan fiction is about. And right now I'm currently in a works I'm dubbing my magnum opus that I've been planning and working on for years behind the scenes, about maybe 2 or so years after I even joined the fandom, which was about 2014. So that's going on right now. It's a little slow going with COVID, and I recently went back home to Canada to spend the holidays early, and I forgot my plot book, but I'm going to try to work on it while I'm here. And I think the other half of the fandom who knows me from Tumblr, and it's going to get super cringe when I say this, but I also run a roleplay blog on there, and that gained massive popularity. There weren't too many Alita 1 roleplay blogs out there, so it was kind of like a torch to take up. So I'm known on there for that, and if you know me, you can find me there, and if not, DM me and I'll tell you. I don't want to publicize it. Well, I'm a little embarrassed.
Oh, that's all right. Well, I was gonna ask because I would think that I like to think this is endearing. Actual mileage may vary, but I'm an old G1er. It's like I'm G1 from day one, and so it's only been in the last few years that I've learned more about this whole other arm of the fandom. It's like, in fact, I think it's very recently that I learned what fandom actually is, like in terms of like that level of participation, like, contributing to zines, writing fic, that whole arm of it. So I've discovered on this journey, I ask a few questions, and some of them are sillier than others. And again, I think sometimes it's like, oh, baby bird knows what shipping is. I'm like, dude, I lived through the 90s. I know what a Brangelina is. I know but I wanted to ask you, what's a role play blog? Because I don't know if I know what that is.
Wow. Let me tell you.
And here I am popping off stuff about like deep Tumblr.
So here's the deep Tumblr that everyone came for. So roleplay, as known in some other connotations, is when you imitate a character and take on their persona and write for them and pretend to be them. I pretend to be a robot online.
Okay.
But it's kind of fun. It's like writing fic, but you're doing it interactively with a partner, and you're delving more into the different characters, the mythos of it, and it can cross different universes. So I primarily write for Transformers Prime. That is my bread and butter. But, you can obviously do G1, other things like that. But it is a really neat community, and it's a really great kind of collaborative community for other writers, which was something I had no idea existed when I first got into the fandom about 2014. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know what the heck fan fiction was. And I was like, wait, you can write your own stories with characters that already exist? what? And then it kind of snowballed from there, and I kind of found my little Tumblr niche, and I was like, oh my gosh, you mean I can write with other writers with our favorite characters? So, and as corny as it may be, I've met a lot of my very good friends through that community specifically, and Katie, of course, who's been up in that chat all evening, is one of them. So I'm really glad that she's followed me all the way over here. Hey, girl. And then, of course, the fan fiction, which feels a little bit more solitary in terms of writing, whereas, the role play is a lot more performative.
Yeah. So and so is that in real time then, like actual like role play game, or?
I mean, it depends on how fast you can turn out a reply. I'm a turtle, so it takes a little while for me to get a reply out, but then I'll also write like a novel length. Yeah, Katie knows. She knows my reply style.
Katie knows what's up.
But it's like one of my main partners who plays Optimus Prime, so obviously, our characters are in a relationship. Shout out to Poo Poo out there, Paxi Prime on Twitter. So we write together, and we would go like all through the night, just writing and creating these different stories together. And it was just such a magical experience. We still do, but we're on a bit of a pause right now because of COVID. But, it is really a neat experience. It's kind of weird now that I'm verbalizing it, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what it's like.
I understand. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, very cool. Let's see. So let me go to my Transformers fandom ask list. And it's again, it is not spicy. They're just conversation starting questions. But actually, you know what? I was going to save this one for later, but it feels like the mood is right to ask now. Where do I? Okay. So, on a 5-star scale, with 1 being wholesome AF and 5 being spicy AF, how hot do you like your fic?
Is there a 6?
Oh, no! Wow.
Whoa.
That's...
I may not have contributed, so... Listen, I'm not opposed to it.
All right then.
Yeah, it's just magnifique. I'll take it. Give me a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll go up to a ghost pepper on that.
Oh my goodness. So again, that was I'm learning as we go. So like I remember when I was at TFCon Toronto, and the way the artist alley was set up very conveniently for to see all the various fan artists. So I saw all kinds of stuff on folks' table. I mean, nothing that I would consider to be NSFW or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but like as I'm talking to folks, and I'm just like, ooh. There was some okay boomer pearl clutching there, and I'm like. The robots kiss? Oh no!
Oh my goodness! Do you mean that they could hold hands?
Whoa! Watch out! Oh snap!
Oh my gosh, that is too funny. Lita, is your video still working?
It is, yes. Can you not see me?
You're frozen.
She's not frozen for me. It might be the internet on your end because mine bugged out a little bit and y'all froze for a second. So cool. she'll come back.
Okay, good. good. All right. Very good. All right. So let's see. So Lita, you had already kind of given the answer to this, and actually Charlie, you had as well, but I was going to ask when you joined the fandom, and by extension of that, because we've already settled that, but what was your first experience with Transformers? What is it about that? Let's just start with that. First flush with the robots in disguise.
As you want to go first, or me?
Listen, if you need a second, I'll go for it.
Go for it.
I thought you were going to cut in there for a second. So it was about 2014. I was in university. I had liked Transformers up until that, but that was the point I kind of, sold my soul. I actually first got into it in 2007 with the live action movies, and I have a younger brother. So as a family, we all went to go see this blockbuster movie together. And the first time I heard Peter Cullen's baritone rumble through the theater, I was like, what is this? Yeah. How do I sign up? I mean, and it's kind of the unfortunate part of it. And I think it comes to my own insecurity of, being a young woman at the time and being, kind of middle school age. It wasn't, girls don't like big robots or cars, kind of archaic mentality. And I very much went along with it. It wasn't until about 2014, I kind of went, screw it. I'm just going to like what I like unapologetically. And I found Transformers Prime on Netflix. So I'd missed the broadcast airing and I found it on streaming and I watched that and it kind of reinvigorated that whole love for it. And now I've been on this crazy journey with y'all for about 6 years and wouldn't change a thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Now, one of the things I think I've talked about this on the show before. I don't have a whole lot of love for the live action movies. Don't at me. It's fine. But one of the things, like I just recently watched 2007 very recently, and that first scene when Optimus transforms and reveals himself to Sam and Michaela, I had forgotten how effective that scene was, because like I remember, I mean I felt it in the theater. I'm just like, I'm seeing Optimus Prime on the big screen again. It's something I never thought as an adult I would have, and then even watching it at home, just that earnest delivery where he's just like, my name is Optimus Prime. It's just like it just gets you every time. So I feel, man.
It just is so magical. And it's like, for me, I had missed the 86 movie. I'm a 94 baby. So I wasn't subjected to those horrors of what happened to my beloved character.
Yeah.
But it was very magical. And it was so something like, I have never seen this before. What is this world? And, we'd always love sci-fi, but it was just, they come here, they can be among us in cars. Like, oh my God.
Exactly. And even though the latter live action movies aren't necessarily my cup of tea, I will never discount their importance and place in the fandom, because there's an entire generation now that's their gateway, that's their G1. And that's what I love about Transformers, is that unlike other fandoms, there are so many new entry points. I mean, we're even seeing it now, with folks jumping in on a Siege and Cyberverse and IDW2 and all of these different new entry points that folks that were your age when you got into the fandom, that were my age when I got into the fandom, that are experiencing it for the first time, which there is a magic there. That is undeniable. So I derailed us a bit, which again, that's kind of what everybody signed up for when casting pods with me. It's like, yes, Mike, I know your show. But Charlie, I thought kind of same question. Let's kind of talk about early experiences. See if you can beat that.
Let's go back to the year 2001. Do you guys remember what show was around on 2001? The original Transformers RID.
Yeah, man.
From 2001, the very goofy cartoon.
Oh,
so
goodness.
I was the child leader. I'm happy that you mentioned about females and how they're not supposed to be into cars or like boyish things. I was the weird girl because I love cars. A lot of people know in the fandom I do have a Dodge Challenger. I'm very into cars. So I was the crazy kid. Like legit, when I was a kid, I would be talking to cars and people would be looking at me like, "Look, what's with this girl?" So I would just be having them conversations with the cars. I didn't care, but I loved cars. I was like, I'm going to talk with this car. The car is going to talk back to me. So guess one day when I came home from elementary school and I'm flipping through and Kids WB got these robot cars talking. Yes. Guess what I got into? So Transformers RID is what I got into. 2001, I was in 4th grade, I believe. I was born in 92. So I'd like be rushing home from elementary school to watch this. And then I watched Transformers Armada, the full series, every Saturday night. I'd watch it live. That is a very, very special show to me. I know a lot of people have flack on it, but it's got a very special place in my heart, Armada. Yeah. Then the CGI cartoon came out. I wasn't a fan of it. I fell out. And then the 2007 movie is what got me back into them again and reminded me like, oh, that's what these robot things were. Robot cars. So I agree. It's very special. It's brought so many people in or re-reminded them and reintroduced them into Transformers. And then you know that I fell out in 2011 and Transformers Prime on Netflix is what got me back in at 2018. I finally watched it. Yeah. But I found out about the transforming robot cars in 2001.
I love it.
Yeah.
See, and again, it's super wholesome. But I mean, again, that's what's so awesome, though, is all of these different entry points. And I think a lot of my listeners might be getting tired of me saying this, but one of my favorite things about this fandom is that I have folks that are lifers like myself, similar experience, similar age group, and we can really connect in a big bad way with that boomer Gen X energy. But also, I get just as much of a thrill hanging out with folks like you who don't look like me, that don't have my experiences, and we all love these transforming robots, and it's just great. It's just super cool. Let's see. From there, we haven't talked about toys a lot. What was y'all's first Transformer figure?
My heart is so sad that you're asking that. It was Armada Red Alert, and I can't find him.
Oh no!
I must have over 100 figures now. Yet I can't find my first figure. He's somewhere in this house. But it was Armada Red Alert that I begged my mom to get me because it was weird to my mom asking for a boy toy in 2004 before she realized, well, this girl's very into more boyish at the time, considered boyish. But it was my Red Alert from Armada, and he's somewhere. When we move out of this house is when he's gonna pop up. But that was my first figure.
That's adorable. How about you, Lita?
I'm trying to think because it's like I never got into the toy thing until I was an adult, and I'm spending like $300 on stuff now. Like, I think my first was the Masterpiece Optimus Year of the Horse, was it? It was the really nice one that came out around 2015-ish. It's been so long now, it feels like forever. But now I have like my pride and joy is now I have like this giant like hot toy fig. It was like $500 of a Dark in the Moon Optimus, and he's on display at home in Los Angeles, and I have insurance out on it in case something happens. I'm more of a collector of like the high end figs.
Sure.
I'm not running to like Toys R Us or anything. I'm like, no, I want it to look like it's from the movie or from the show. So I'm broke, in other words.
I understand. I just recently bought that Year of the Horse Optimus also. Yeah. And it's great. It was actually my first MP10.
Oh,
and,
yeah, he's gorgeous.
And it was one of those things once I got him in my hands, I'm like, oh, that's why everybody loves this mold so much, because he's a lot of fun. And I love that darker color scheme where it's like it's like the dark navy and like the red is almost maroon, and of course the shimmery gold on it as well. That's it's a cool figure. So you're super broke. How
Holla!
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, that's well, not for nothing. That does kind of go in hand with being part of Transformers fandom, right? You know that there's a certain amount of brokenness. I mean, regardless of what your taste is, like if you're into official or third party or art or whatever your thing is,
all of it.
Exactly. So keeping it with toys then, third party, yes, no.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I own quite a few.
Yeah, same.
Very nice.
Get some beautiful figures through third party.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely.
But I get a kick out of the names sometimes. The names of the characters they'll give them. It's like, that's Ratchet. And they'll call him like Wrench Man. And I'm like, Wrench Man. I'll get him.
It's like Solus Prime was like Parthenion or Parthenion.
Yeah.
I'm trying to Google it. I'm like, the purple one.
Who is he?
Yeah. It feels like Mastermind Creation specifically really leans into those very Latin sounding names. It's like all right, it's fine. It's whatever. This
is fine. Fire.
Exactly. So let's go even more basic, I guess. Autobots or Decepticons, and why? Let's start with Lita.
All right, so Autobots, because they're the good guys, and Alita 1 is part of the Autobots.
Of course. I mean, it was right.
Coming. I've gone 20 minutes without talking about her, Mike. I have to uphold my image. But also Optimus Prime. There, mic drop, done. Like, yeah. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, I mean, your OTP is right there in the faction, so
I would be kicked out of the fandom. There's someone with a gun to my head off camera right now. Like, I have to answer that. I'll lose my card.
Right. Exactly. Unless like you do full heel turn, it's like Decepticons, and I'm suddenly a megastar shipper. It's like, whoa,
shattered glass.
Oh my God, she got a folding chair. This shattered glass shipper king. My God. Oh man, wrestling references. How about you, Charlie? How about your faction?
I'm gonna go left field here and go neutral, which is not really spoken about a lot, but a good amount of my OCs are neutrals, just because I kind of just prefer the character that is kind of in the middle. They agree with certain aspects on both sides, but they also don't agree with aspects on both sides, because the Autobots are the good guys and the Decepticons are the bad guys, but in how many different series we've seen where they're both kind of jerks, and they also are both twisted. Both sides have been twisted in their own way. We've seen the Autobots be pretty twisted as well. And I just like the neutrals for that, because they're like, well, I ain't going to pick a side, so I'm going to be in the middle. Even though all my favorite characters are technically Autobots. Pharma kind of lost his mind. But I just prefer neutrals. I just love how they're like, I don't know where to go, so I'll be there for you if you're not being a jerk to me, and I'll help you if you're not being a jerk to me, and I'll temporarily side with you, or vice versa. I've always just been a fan of neutral whenever I'm in a Discord server and they let you pick like which category you want to be. I'm like, give me that neutral. So I just prefer neutral personally, but if I had to pick Autobot or Decepticon, I would go with Autobot, because all my favorite characters are in there, but I lean more towards the neutral game.
I love that. I love that.
That's dope. And that's a great...
Yeah. Lockdown, I think, is neutral, Katie said. So
there you go.
Well, and Katie beat me to it. I was going to ask if there were any particular characters that identify as neutral that you gravitate towards.
Well, there was Lockdown. Oh gosh, you just slipped my mind. There are more characters that are in the series that were or stopped being a certain side, and they went to neutral. It has been a while since I've read the comics again. And
Sure.
There are characters I know that they'll just kind of flip flop. So, Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Well-
in Siege, I don't know if he technically went to neutral. What's his name? The purple and yellow one. I'm going blank on everybody's names right now in Siege.
Purple and
What's
yellow.
the mohawk that got friendly with Rocket?
Impactor.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what happened, but something happened to him and he wasn't a Decepticon anymore, and he was kind of in the middle. He kind of became neutral. He didn't side with the Autobots either. Like, I just like that aspect of characters, and I thought Impactor was a cool character for doing that. So,
and that's such a good point that you made about how Autobots will and can be assholes just as much as Decepticons, as illustrated in Siege.
Katie's given a lot of good characters here that are all neutrals. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, well, and especially like folks that come from the colonies, that aren't specifically Cybertronian, like Chromia and Windblade. That makes sense to me. So you had mentioned Siege earlier. How do you feel about the new mercenary faction? You got Sound Blaster, who I think was for me, a series where I was really looking for something to grab onto. I'm like, that is a cool take. I want more. But we know with Earthrise, you've got even more mercenaries. Like you got Double Dealer, Exhaust, Bug Bite, and I think the way I read the trailer, I think the Coneheads are hanging out with the mercenaries. So I don't know if they identify as the mercenary faction, but I think it's cool that in canon, on a cartoon and in the toy line, that we're saying like, yeah, no, there is a faction that's neither, and I think that's something conceptually that's really cool.
Oh, 100%. I think it just helps to expand the universe even more. That's already so expansive, right? Like, I can't even remember when or if mercenary faction has been highlighted in a show, much less a movie.
Right. And I think that's what made Lockdown such a breakout character. One, and obviously in TFA, but also in the movie as well. It's just like, oh, all right. And I because like, when I was growing up, it was, it was black or white. You're either good guys or you're bad guys. So I think it's a very contemporary take to have these shades of gray. And I especially appreciate in both iterations of the IDW comics where, in fact, I would say in IDW 2, they're almost making a case that the Decepticons are almost too sympathetic, I think. But that's just me. It's like, they're kind of actual mileage may vary, but yeah, no, it's interesting how we can show these types of factions from a realistic perspective. So flipping gears a little bit, if you yourself were a Transformer, what would your alt mode be and why?
Well, that is a mighty fine question.
Callie,
do you want to go first?
Oh,
I have one on standby, but it's like I haven't really thought about it much. But
I've been asked this question before.
I'm sure. I'm
trying to remember what I said exactly. But I think the audience had answered it for me. If I remember the stream, they're like, "You'd be a sports car," and I'm like, "I guess so." If that's what y'all are thinking, a green sports car, okay.
Well, I would say, Chally, you've made part of like your branding and identity and stuff kind of tied to your vehicles. Also, I mean you got the green hair, you got the green Challenger, you are Challenger girl, and it's like, so I mean,
what's your brand?
It's kind of right there. I mean, you could go a different direction and be Tango your Jeep also. How's Tango? How's Tango doing, by the way?
He's doing very well. We had to yank a couple nails out of his tires. I had like a solid month of a nail in his tire every week, so that was fun. But he's doing very well. He's very excited for the snow. So, and Drake, my challenger, is in hibernation. So, but Tango's excited for winter.
Very good, very good. All right, so so Lita, what are you thinking? What kind of vehicle would you transform into?
I honestly couldn't even say, but I feel like I have tied myself so much with Alita 1's persona, and I personally headcanon her to be a Lamborghini Aventador.
Ooh,
whatever,
yes.
however you pronounce it. I'm not good at
Sounds
Italian.
delicious.
I don't know, but
Yeah, whatever that is. It's like, give me a slice of that. I'll just be a sexy sports car, hot flaming pink all the way down Sunset Boulevard.
be the Lambo.
I love it.
The Lambo.
Yes.
I'm gonna be the Lambo. I'll join the twins. We'll all hang out.
Yes, be triplets now.
How delightfully Los Angeles. I love it.
Wow.
I mean, so I kind of wanted to do a quick reset for a sec, because I know some new folks have jumped in the chat. We are chatting with Chally and Lita, and we started off our conversation talking about IACON Online, a brand new online virtual Transformers fan convention, which will be happening at the end of January next year.
30th to 31st, I believe.
30th and 31st. And so we're kind of hanging out, fielding questions. So if you've been on the chat for a while, or if you're just joining us, if there's something that you would like to ask about a brand new fan inclusive focused Transformers convention, go ahead and drop us a line. Don't be shy. But I guess for now, let's see. So we already talked about Autobots and Decepticons. These are just gimmies. Do I even need to bother asking either of you who your favorite Autobot is? I didn't think so. so let
I'm almost offended.
Lita, clearly Cliff Jumper, just so clear as day.
I have to go now. I have to.
I just can't catch a break. poor Cliffy. So let's spin the faction symbol the other direction. Who is your favorite Decepticon then?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You're like, screw those guys. They're all evil.
I'm going to based on like who's the sexiest. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it's the boxy cassette man. I mean, come on.
I was just about to say Soundwave for that reason. Yeah. And he's also a good father. It's a very attractive quality.
Very wholesome.
I don't know. I'm gonna just say yeah. Hockey. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Soundwave and do the gimme. If that upsets the chat, I'm sorry.
All right. So Callie, I didn't want to give you the short shrift there. Did you have a Decepticon, or do we just want to move on?
If I had to say something like on the spot, I guess it would be maybe Tarn or Overlord, just because of how impactful they were. They were like, so, I love Pharma, so and Ratchet obviously, and John, bring them all in. But Tarn and Overlord were just huge characters, literally as well. Yeah. But they were just big characters in the comic, especially with the faction of the Decepticons. So, if I had to on the spot, I would say one of them.
Those are good picks.
Yeah. Yeah, no lies detected. I like it.
No, not at all.
So with the Transformers franchise, as vast as it is, with so much official canon, cartoons, movies, comic books, take your pick. What is your favorite piece of Transformers fiction?
Ooh.
Or I guess I should say canon fiction.
Like specific to genre, or just like something that has happened?
Well, no, I mean, yeah. So like for example, my favorite piece of Transformers fiction is 1986's The Transformers the movie, and if I had to pick a close second, it would be the More Than Meets the Eye comic. So kind of like in those kind of broad strokes. Like, do you have a movie, a TV show, or I mean, if I wouldn't dare to say like what's your favorite moment. That's like too. I mean we could be here for forever.
How much time you have?
Exactly. But what I've discovered when I've asked folks that question, and we've kind of alluded to it earlier when we were talking about when we joined the fandom, usually like whatever our entry point is, that ends up being special to us. So it's like, I've got friends that are super into Transformers Animated. I've got folks that are super into Transformers Prime, and so like, kind of, I guess that's why I'm thinking it's like, what is for phrasing it indelicately, but like, what's your G1? What's the thing that you go back to that means the most to you?
Charlie, all you go first.
Well, I kind of already answered this before, but like 2001 RB and Armada are like my G1 because that's literally what brought me in. But if I had to like add in another one, I do adore the comics. I adore all of them. I think they're all cute. I especially like the Ghostbusters series. So, so yeah.
Trying to think. I mean, yeah, it's same thing. In terms of gateway drug, it was Transformers Prime, and kind of tied in with Bayverse there. Like, even as much flack as it gets, it's kind of what got me in, and then TFP put it over the rails there. But recently, I would say War for Cybertron Siege, the Netflix show, really has been a fantastic show that I absolutely adore and give my life and soul to. So,
yes, wow. Not a lot of people say that, but
for like obvious reasons, I feel like we could all put together why I would love it as much as I do.
I think you can the same with me too. With Ratchet, so like, there's a reason.
You and I are funding it. We're like the hype people for Siege.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, oh my gosh. Let me see. And I'm trying to be cautious of the time also, because it looks like we're going to have one of our IACON online meetings coming up soon. So I want to make sure and get us off in time for that. But let me see. So we talked about the movies earlier. Of the movies, and you can include 86 or whatever else you want to include, what is your favorite of the movies?
Ooh. Bumblebee.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
I was gonna say, like, totally in another realm, Age of Extinction. Okay. Because it had the most Optimus Prime in it. So
there you go.
Yeah. See, again, it's one of these things where it's like after you answer, it's like, yeah, I mean, yes.
There's a method to the madness.
It's right there. It's right there.
Which one was that? The fourth movie or fifth one?
Yes, it was the fourth one.
It was the fourth
one.
That
where he got the new look, and it was like, okay, I can work with this. We can work with it.
Crosshairs was in that one too.
Yes,
good boy. Yes.
Good boy. It was a good-looking cast. My
Irish boy. That was a lot of people hate on that, but that was a pretty good movie to me.
I thought it was great. Yeah. I saw it 13 times. I was loving it.
There you go.
That's awesome. See, I love it. And again, that's the thing that's so cool about Transformers also is that not everything has to be for everybody, because everything is for somebody, and I pulled that out of a fortune cookie here, and it looks like, oh man, does it look like Apollo is going to join us again?
Yeah, I think she's gonna try.
Yeah, man. Oh,
I'm
she's
back.
waving.
Hey, welcome back.
Sorry. If I'd known that my iPad wouldn't have worked, I would have made sure my phone was fully charged before
Oh, it's all good.
podcast.
Well, but ironically enough, though, you've answered all of these questions already. I'm just going through the old ask list that you and I went through a handful of months ago.
Cool.
But getting some of these answers is pretty fun. So from there, I guess, and this, you can take this however you like. It could be like, something from a show or a comic or whatever. But I think I would kind of prefer like an IRL type of story. What is your favorite Transformers memory?
Me?
You already told yours, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. So Apollo, you since you've answered all of these already, you can jump in with something new if you would like. But yeah, I don't know if I need to ask you point blank. Let's start with Jally. What? Yeah, and again, it could be a fandom thing, it could be a convention thing. Just what gives you the feels when you think of them transforming robots?
Oh, I mean, if it's talking on the feel factor, it'd have to be TFCon Toronto, because that was my first TFCon ever. And little background, when I found out about BotCon in 2007, I was just a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't a kid. I was like 16, 15 or whatever it was when I first found out. And, I couldn't travel on my own yet or anything. So for like over 10 years, I've been wanting to go to a Transformers convention. So finally, Toronto happened. I finally went after 10 years to a Transformers convention. Just finally got to meet some of my online friends I had already made, and then make even more friends. So like just finally having that feeling of like, wow, like I finally did it. I think has to like wholesomeness be like one of my most like best memories. Like, oh my gosh, I waited this long. It finally happened. So.
That's so wholesome.
I love it. See, this is why we're here.
We're here to make each other cry.
For the wholesomeness. So that means it's your turn, Lita.
I mean, how do I go after that? My gosh.
No, come on.
I would say though it is in line with TFCon, but it's more overarching than that. TFCon 2015 was the first time I ever went to TFCon, but it was also the first time I ever second time, that I met Peter Cullen. And previous to that, I had gone in 2014 to Texas Comic-Con just specifically to see him. I saw he was going to be there. I had never traveled before for a convention, and, Canadian girl going down to Texas. So then I went, and I was one of the first people who got to see him and speak with him. And being Canadian, we kind of made a bond. And
sure. Yes.
We talked about it for a while, and he knew my city, and, we kind of had this kingship. And then a year later, I brought the photo that I had taken with him at that convention, and I kind of slid it over like, hey, you probably don't remember me, but this was us last year. And he's like, I remember you. You're the Canadian. And I was like,
oh.
What? And he's like, yeah, you're Jess. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
Shut up. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Oh
I was like, I told Peter Cullen to shut up. And then I started to cry. So
that's awesome.
I've met him subsequently multiple times after that. And every time he remembers me. And just to have that moment, to know that someone you idolize and love so much and who means so much to you knows you.
Yeah.
Every time I think about it, I just really get choked up. It's just so touching. It makes my heart hurt.
Makes our heart hurt. Man, that is so sweet.
I know. Awesome. I was like, how dare you be so precious?
He is a very precious man.
That gave me feelings.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
Well, I suppose now that we got the feels, this is as smooth of a transition as I can make to let's talk about pairings a bit. Again, we already know where Lita is at, but I'm curious what your favorite Transformers pairings are, and it could be whatever crazy ship you want to sail. It could be rare pair. I don't care. It's just but I want to talk about, like, what some of your favorite Transformers pairings are, but then I'm also curious about what some of your least favorite pairings are. And while you think on that for a hot second, I want to tell a story, because like I haven't this happened relatively recently. I was a guest on a show called Have Not Seen This, and I was on there to talk about Transformers the movie. The host had not seen the movie yet, and we talked about it, and it was a really fun conversation. So I rewatched the movie. It had not been long since in between viewings. I've watched that movie a lot over the last handful of months, just because of like different content I've been doing, and just kind of trying to keep it fresh in my mind. But in like a post Mike is part of the fandom moment, there's so it's post the attack on Autobot City, and Galvatron and his goons are coming back, and they're gonna they flee into the shuttles. The Autobots get into the shuttles, and like they're getting ready to board, and Springer looks over at little Daniel. He's like, looks like we're shipmates, Squirt. And I'm just like, oh my god, I had never contextualized that line that way before, but now I can't unhear it. And it's like, well, if you get space sick, you're walking home. Like,
oh my god.
I'm like, what was Ron Friedman thinking? But yeah, so no, I'm like, so is that a ship? Did I just ship? I had to walk away for a minute and recompose myself. But yeah, so that's my weird awkward ship. But anyhow, that's a new story. I've never told that before. But but yeah, let's what are some of your go-to ships? So I guess, Lita, I mean, obviously we know your OTP, and of course Chally, I'll ask you spoilers. I'll ask you what your OTP is in a bit, but other ships that you're into.
Goodness. Well, I mean, another classic from G1, Chromia Ironhide, have to put that on the map.
Yeah.
And I'm not just throwing that out there to stall. I'm not stalling.
I even gave you time. I told you my dumb Springer story.
I know. I'm going through my Rolodex of ships right now. There are just literally so many, and so many I try to write, other than Oplita. Another one of my favorites truly is like Megatron Starscream, and I know that gets a lot of flack in the fandom, but hey, I like it. So, and then kind of a misnomer, but Pre-Alita Ariel and Megatronus is another one that Beauty and the Beast-esque. I kind of like I vibe with. Yeah. Oh, yes. And then I also love and adore, and actually a friend of mine, Mila Grozen, who is an artist on Twitter, Tumblr, everywhere. Fantastic. Definitely go follow her if you aren't already. Really turned me on to the Knockout Bumblebee ship, originating from Transformers Prime, but now they're human formers. Love them. I didn't even think I would, and now it's like they have a special place in my heart.
See, that's the stuff I'm looking to get into, because again, being salty, crusty G1er, I didn't even think about any of this stuff until like 2 years ago. So I'm excited to just kind of steep in the juices and be part of the scene. All right, Charlie. I think we stalled long enough. What
I have a lot, but I'll try to narrow it down.
You got to raise anchor. You got to sail that ship, man.
I got a lot. I'll bring off the rare one, but I do like Barricade and Crosshairs. That's a very rare ship. So those two. Farva and Ratchet, I know that sometimes gets flack, but just like Liga said, hey, I like that, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, love that.
Ratchet and Impactor. And we're going to head G1 and go Blue Streak and Twins or Blue Streak with Hound. So thanks to fan fiction.
Wow.
So I love Blue Streak. He doesn't get enough love. So I'm still hoping he will eventually show up again in a cartoon one day down the rainbow. Kasem, I absolutely adore that man. I will listen to the 70s channel just to hear that beautiful man's voice. So I love him and I'm like Blue.
Yeah. That's awesome. That one broke my brain a bit there. No, those are some good ass ships. How about you, Apollo? I know we've talked about various ships before, but yeah, let's throw some stuff out here. Kind of rattle the cage a little bit.
Okay, so ships I really like Optimus and Starscream, and I know it doesn't maybe make sense, but they've become my favorite for some reason. So anyways, I really like them. I really got into Hot Rod and Soundwave because of Cyberverse season 3. So I really like them a lot. I like Road Rage and Nautica. I really like them together from IDW2. Oh, so many ships. Like I'm a multi-shipper. Like I like OP Alita.
Sure.
I actually like Alita Megatron now.
Yes.
Yes. Like it is so good. Yes. Like it is so good. Like I've read a few fanfics and I like really love that ship now. So yeah. So those are a few that I like. Now I have to think of ships I don't like. Oh god.
Yeah.
That's
because I guess in a sense it's like, what ship drives you nuts, or like, what do you see too much fic of? If it's like, oh man, if I see, X and Y one more time, I guess, what kind of ships are you bored of? I guess I'm just trying to expand it to get us to chat about it, because I feel like there's some tea that's not been spilled.
Well, if you want some tea.
Yeah. Well, getting bored. I mean, what's that? What's being bored?
Yeah, that's true. That's
I don't.
Perhaps overdone would be a better way of phrasing it, I guess.
Well, overdone. I mean, a lot of ships have been overdone. Just because they have been doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But I don't like RC with Hot Rod, even though I know that's from G1. I don't like it. So I'd say that's like the one off the top of my head I don't like. So
would you prefer RCB with Springer then? Is that where you're going with that?
Oh God, I don't know with all the wrist grabbing. Like maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like. I mean, I gotta give shout out to our friends, the Autopod Decepticast. They landed on something that I hadn't even thought of in 30 years. That relationship is almost like siblings type thing. Like, I mean, who hasn't grabbed their little brother or sister by the wrist and said, let's go, it's like, and it's like once they kind of recontextualized it that way, I was like, oh yeah, that all makes sense now. But also wrist grabbing is bad. That's our PSA. Don't grab people by the wrist.
Yeah.
Don't just yank them around. And
unless there's a fire or like an explosion literally right there, you're like, we gotta go. But like,
yeah.
I'm so much wrist grabbing in that movie.
Yeah, I'm really trying to think of like what ship I actually don't like. Like it's like I haven't thought of anything. Like, what about Charlie, you or Lita? What are ships you don't like?
I have to really think, but I do want to acknowledge Katie really quickly that Jazz
Yes.
and Prowl is a
Jazz
great
and
ship.
Prowl,
We
yes.
can't type to chat, so I don't want you guys to think we're ignoring you. We see your chat. But Jazz and Prowl is a great ship, and I do agree with you. The Sunstreaker thing, they need to stop doing Sideswipe and no Sunstreaker. I agree
Yes.
with you, Katie.
Amen.
I just want to acknowledge that real quickly.
Thank you. I was thinking the same thing. It's like, wait a minute, what's a good spot to dip into that?
Yeah,
Dip into
we're
that
not
sweet
ignoring
tea.
you. Yeah. I don't know why everything keeps thinking the side, so I just don't got a twin anymore when it comes to TV and movies. But who's that yellow guy?
Oh, so okay, random out of nowhere, because you mentioned about sons and sides being twins and brothers there. The Dotson mold. You got Blue Streak, you got Prowl, you got Smokescreen, and now you got Barricade. Because I saw some discourse about this on Twitter recently. Do you think the Dotson boys are brothers, or do you bristle at that? Let's unpack this a little bit.
For fan fiction purposes, I do kind of like when they're siblings. I just think it's a really sweet dynamic. The fan fiction is what brought that mind to me, because I never thought of it that way years ago. But then just the way these people write it, I'm going to shout out Piper. They do some amazing Dotson brothers work, but they just wrote them so beautifully as a duo, as brothers. And I just, the Barricade character is always the jerky brother. And I'm like, I love you. So I personally love the brother aspect, which is why I wish the Dotsons would come back into cartoons. So but I'll let you guys answer that next. So I'm for it.
All right.
I like them being siblings. Like every fanfic I've read has had them be siblings, and I really enjoy that dynamic.
So like all of them, like all four of them.
Oh, Sunny and Sides.
Oh,
being
got
siblings,
it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's rad. Very cool. Yeah, no, I just happened to think about that. Let me see. All right, so let's keep it in the kind of I guess, for lack of a better term, fandom related space as we get ready to wrap up here. So I will read the question how it is written. Who is the most hot Transformer?
Who's answering that first?
Pharma?
Because I mean, there's so many different directions you can go. You could go Beast Wars Inferno because he's a fire ant or something. That if you want to go more wholesome route, or or you go your Vanity Boys. You got Sunny, you got Trax. I'm sure somebody is going to start calling out Knockout very shortly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shut up, and I will let you guys discuss.
Well, I'll go first because I have no shame or pride anymore. So Transformers Prime Optimus season 1 and 2 was the sexiest thing to ever come out of Transformers ever, period. Done. Mic drop. I'm out.
Wow.
Forever and always. So fine. And then they changed it and I had to puke. It was awful.
Oh yeah, when he got super beefy.
When he got chunky.
No.
Big boy.
I went through the 7 stages of grief with that one. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. I appreciate his frame very much.
It's the hips. If we really want to get into
hips.
it's the hips.
Oh my goodness.
Hips, yeah.
That's why that chibi drawing I did with them thick hips did so well.
I redrawn that several times.
Everybody on Tumblr, hips.
Yep. Yeah, it's his hip to chest ratio is very nice.
Yes. All of that. And I would say also Age of Extinction Optimus, when he got the bikini broad, loincloth upgrade. I really did appreciate that. In lieu of chunky season 3 Optimus, it was a nice here you go, fandom. We're sorry we wronged you.
Oh my
Okay, I'm
God.
done.
I love it.
It was all very valid, Lita. So good.
It is valid.
Yeah, drift is the hips. I agree with Katie. And it feels like in more contemporary times where like newer, hotter characters have shown up on the scene, it seems like poor Drift has kind of gotten forgotten about. I don't know, because I mean, again, Drift came around at a time where I didn't really know anything about fandom. I just knew from the comics and the toys and all of that other stuff. I'm like, he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. But yeah, it is just kind of weird. And I don't know. This might be mildly controversial. I think right around the time Windblade came around as the fan voted character, I think that kind of pushed Drift out, kind of pushed him aside a little bit in terms of like the new hotness. Is that
very hot? I will agree with that.
Oh yeah, and I got nothing. And don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against Windblade. I'm not one of those.
Yeah.
We shall not bring it into existence.
Yeah.
No.
Girl Robot's bad. It's like I can't hang with that perspective. But yeah, so I think I derailed us a little bit there.
That's fine.
Okay.
So,
I forgot what we were talking about as soon as I mentioned Optimus. I was like, where am I?
I know, it's like, where did I go? Am I time traveling? It's like I've transcended here. So yeah, I guess so I have has everybody weighed in on Hot Transformers? Is the deck clear on that? I didn't want to short anybody.
Oh, I appreciate Starscream very much so. So
Is there a particular one, like of the genres, or just across the board? Because Dorito Scream, I would kind of take umbrage with.
No, I really like Sarah PD's version and Sarah Stone's versions of Starscream. Like, my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
So
Spicy.
Very spicy, and he knows he's attractive. So.
Yeah,
I know it's getting hot in here.
No,
let me just get a drink of water. Hang on a second.
See, and this is the kind of discourse that I can't get hanging out with my dude buddies. It's just the spice is not as strong.
But what's great, Mike, is you're open to all of this and you don't judge these ships and stuff. And I absolutely adore you for that. So you are such a cool dude. Let me just say that.
Buddy.
We can have some good times at the bar next TFCon whenever those happen again.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And that actually gives me the perfect setup, which I'm ruining by saying that it's the perfect setup. But the last thing I wanted to discuss and ask you before we get ready to wrap up here is, what do you like about Transformers fandom?
This.
Exactly.
Just like us hanging out, like talking about our favorite stuff, like whether it's ships or characters, and just giggling about it, and like having drinks in the lobby, and like racing the little race car versions of the toys. I mean, like it's great just hanging out with fans and who have become my friends, and we just have this discourse. It's really awesome.
Couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's very much a mic drop moment. And so I think we'll leave it there for now. So I do want to remind folks that, we're chatting about IACON Online. That is going to be happening January 30th and 31st of next year of 2021. It's IACON Online, where all are one, which, as you can imagine from that tagline, there is an emphasis on inclusion and diversity of fan created content. And we are on the lookout for fans that are looking to contribute content. And all varieties. We're looking for panelists, we're looking for artists, and we're looking for cosplayers. So if you have an awesome thing that you do, like I'm still trying to, Lita threw this away as a joke, like very early on in the discussion. She's like, I could do an entire panel just about Alita 1. And I'm like, you should do that. Because
if I get enough people to say yes, I will.
Alita 1 and why she's fantastic.
Yeah,
exactly. But I think I think when folks think about making like panels or fan content, I think they get bogged down of like trying to, make it overly elaborate. And I would think that somebody that is as such a super fan to the point where you've crafted your online identity with Alita there, I think that's something that would be fascinating. And all of the Alita army and all the Alita stands would show up for that. So for folks that are out there listening and watching, if that's your thing, or something similar, hit us up. We're online at IACON Online. That is spelled exactly how it sounds. IACON. I can't spell. I'm reading it on my screen, and it's like one of those things where like you see the letters, and it's just like, I even just said it's like just like it sounds too. So, but anyway, it's IACON Online, named after the titular city in Transformers fandom. There it is, IACON Online. Again, it is a not-for-profit, fan-organized, fan-powered, fan-driven event for Transformers fandom. We're looking for panelists, cosplayers, and artists. Applications for panels and the virtual artist alley are now open. Applications for cosplay will be up on Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday, very good. We've manifested it. That's great. So folks listening to doing some time travel here, but if you're listening on the podcast, it's up now. Go check it out. And if you have any questions about just like what is this, I'm interested in participating. I have an idea, but I'm not sure how to get my idea off the ground. We have a network of folks that, as you've seen over the last hour or so, are kind of nice and really excited to help folks kind of do the thing. So if you're interested in doing the thing, hit us up on any of those social channels. It's at IACON Online on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on the Tumblrs as well. I don't think it's deep Tumblr, it's kind of shallow Tumblr, but
accessible Tumblr.
Yeah,
accessible Tumblr. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes.
That's a perfect way of putting it. And we I think we kind of sort of accidentally skipped this earlier. We talked that IDW artist Livio Ramadelli is going to join us, which is exciting. By the way, the trade paperback for his first graphic novel, The Killock, just came out. Go buy that if you have not yet. I bought the floppies, but I'm excited to read it as one. And I know he is super proud of that project, and I just so much respect. I've been a fan of that dude forever, and I'm really glad to see his creator-owned work. Just to see just his name on the bottom copy there. Anyway, so he will be joining us. But have we talked about any of the other programming that that we have even loosely planned? I don't remember if we touched on that in terms of like panels or stuff that's in the works. And I apologize in advance if I've stepped in something that we don't have figured out yet.
We've got a list of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I think what we had talked about, and you can jump in on this, Chally or Lita, is that we have an idea of panels we want to do as part of the planning team, but we want to see what we get first. And you're super involved, Chally, with the cosplay contest, and that might just be your thing, but there's going to be, if we need more panels, or if we see there are certain panels that might be lacking, we'll probably be jumping in on some. So I'm trying to remember. I mean, we talked about it really early on. I don't know if either of you remember some of them.
I do remember two. There's
Mm-hmm.
one that Sparks, Frag, and I are going to be doing about building cosplays.
Oh yeah.
And Andy and Frag Raptor are doing one on character design, I believe. Was that the other one they were doing, the character design one?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And then another two that I remember we wanted to touch on, I believe, LGBTQIA members of the community and content creators within the Transformers community, as well as I believe we wanted to do a women in Transformers panel as well.
Yes, Genevieve. Yes.
Yeah. For Genevieve Frank.
That's right. Yeah, so that's some of the stuff that we're working on. We would love to see what you're working on. Like I would love to see somebody do a shipping panel. I would love to see somebody's like, fic for noobs, so something like that. Because like, I mean, for me, that, again, as I've said, kind of coming into fandom backwards through being a fan of something, which, again, I didn't realize that being a fan of something and being part of the fandom are occasionally two different things. There's a little bit of crossover, but I remember when I went to my first TFCon in Chicago in 2018, I saw a lot of fan creators there, and I saw a bunch of zines and things like that, but I didn't really have much connection to what it was. And, obviously there weren't any panels talking about zines or fic or anything like that. And so I think that's an awesome opportunity for somebody that wants to talk about that at length. Maybe somebody that's been in fandom as long as they can remember. I mean, somebody that's open-minded about that arm of the fandom would be incredibly fascinated to learn more about the history of fan fiction and how it, how you dip in and out of canon and head canon and how that all ties in together. I find that incredibly fascinating. Just to spitball some examples out there to get the ball rolling, to say nothing about, toy collecting. Do you have an incredibly vast and deep Bumblebee collection that you want to show off and talk about, some of your holy grails and things like that? I mean, again, it's endlessly, it's endless. The amount of material that folks can come up with. So that's why we wanted to do this show kind of in the format that we did, to, kind of arouse those ideas in folks' head, and to say definitively that this is an inclusive fan convention and we want you to be a part of it. In fact, quite frankly, without you, there's no show.
Exactly.
So yes.
And so if you want to be a part of something really cool, again, hit us up at IACON online, and I'll talk about it in future episodes, like we already talk about. Where I'm going to talk to some of the other folks that are part of our little planning committee and get them to chat about their arts and their stuffs and their things. But for now, before we sign off, let's do one more quick around the horn. And could you let folks know where we can find you on the internet, how we can connect with you on the social medias, and anything you want to promote. So Chally, this is your opportunity to talk about your zines again. And so let's start with that. So we'll go Chally, Apollo, and then Lita. Again, let us know how we can connect with you online, and let us know about the cool stuff that you got to promote.
Okay, so you could find my personal on Twitter, ChallengerGirl9. The title would be ChallengerGirl9399, and I go by ChallengerGirl9399 on Tumblr and Instagram. But I currently have open for pre-orders until December 20th is the TF Lifelines Medic zine that I organize, and it's a wonderful zine because it is a non-for-profit. Proceeds are all going to the Salk Institute for Technology, and Salk is working super hard right now into COVID-19 research. So if you do pre-order yourself a copy of the zine, you are actually helping put money towards COVID-19 research, which we all know is so critical right now. So please consider buying it. The cheapest version we have is if you buy a digital copy for only $12, and there's obviously no shipping because it's digital. You could check that out. We are on Twitter, TF Lifelines, and it will link you to our Big Cartel page. And if you want to check out a little personal project of mine, it's Chally's Animated Life on YouTube. It is an animation project I am currently working on about different stories throughout my life, animated. So that's me.
I love it. It's adorable.
Thank you.
I really like your stuff.
Thank you so much.
How about you, Apollo?
All right, so I'm Apollo, and you can find me at Robo Apollo at Twitter and Instagram. I am open for commissions. So if you want me, and I can also help you design your OC if you need help with that. Like I helped Mike with Miss Attitude. So feel free to DM me. I'm super friendly. I am very responsive, so you won't be waiting around long for an answer. So looking forward to meeting future people. Anyways, that's me.
And
we love you.
Oh, thank you.
We love you.
I love you. I miss everyone on this call. I just want to hug everyone.
Virtual hug. Just
virtual
hug.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, giant hands. No.
Hello.
Oh, right. I guess I should say something about myself.
Yeah.
Duh. I am LaLaLita ___ at Twitter. You can follow me there for all of my memes and trolling and screaming about Alita. I'm also on Instagram under the same name, and you can find me at Tumblr at alitaxne.tumblr.com if you want to see more of my writing and old roleplay threads. Also on AO3, so Archive of Our Own is where my fic, Edge of Oblivion, is currently housed and is being updated. My magnum opus, please read it. I need hits desperately, and I just need validation on my writing.
So good.
The link
so
is also... Stop! The link to my fic is also in my Twitter profile, so if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, it'll be there as well. Please let me know what you think. I desperately want to know.
That's very sweet. Well, I tell you what, ladies, this was I promised you it was going to be fun. Did you have a good time on the podcast?
Yes.
Quick 2 hours, quickest 2.5 hours I went through here.
I can't feel my foot, but I don't even care.
I was literally just messaging my wife. I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be home by 5. I just know it. Well, because and it'll be kind of funny going back and watching the video, because you can, especially behind me, because I'm by a window, you can watch it getting darker.
Oh my gosh. It was light out there.
It was daytime here in Seattle when we started. It's not daytime now, but yeah, I mean, and obviously we can chat for many more hours, but we've got a thing coming up soon, so I want to make sure and wrap that up. But before we wrap up, I want to give a shout out to Katie and Pontip and who else was in the chat here that we had.
Mike was in there, Mitty.
Yeah, Mitty was in there, and I think Alpha Magnus popped in. My dude Aaron from Autopod Decepticast jumped in. And I'm trying to scroll to the top just to make sure I didn't miss anybody.
Uni was watching. Unicronus on Twitter was watching. I know.
Yay.
Oh, cool.
Hi, Uni. Hi,
I also
Piper.
saw Michael pop in. Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Hello,
Aw.
darkness, my old friend.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, again, thank you all so much for, making our live stream a success. And yeah, I mean, again, this is so much fun. That's why I like doing this stuff. I'll be honest with you. It's just enjoying fandom and being friends with folks. And it's just awesome. And that will do it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening. And if you want to listen to my podcast, Mike Seibert Radio, and all of my past shows, subscribe on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Spotify, TuneIn, or wherever the heck else you listen to your podcast. And you can check out the full show archive out on SoundCloud. 5 years worth of podcasts going back to my college radio days. The spelling on that is Seibert. And tune in to the After Hours live stream occasionally on Monday nights, starting at 8 p.m. Pacific time, out on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. Like, share, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you like and what you'd like to hear more of in the future. Mike Seibert Radio is powered by Poddex. For Mike Seibert Radio, my name is Mike.
My name's Apollo.
My name's Shelly.
And I'm Lita.
We did it. Just like we practiced.
Yes.
And until next time, wear a mask, wash your hands, and make good choices.
Bye.
Bye.